What's up, everybody? It's your boy Sam from Siphon T C G. Got him. And I am here with the band Stricted announcement. Now, this is not breaking news. I am a little bit late. I apologize. The way my work schedule is, I work Monday through Thursday. Pretty much my whole entire day is spent either the few hours I have sleeping, driving, or working. So I only have 3 days a week to be able to really do any content. And stuff, so I am a little bit late. Apologies, but I've already kind of seen this, but I kind of when I actually read the article and give my thoughts about based on what the article's saying. I already have my own thoughts on this, but let's go and get into it. This is the boy Brian Gottlieb. So I'm gonna skip this stuff. I'm just gonna kind of like skim talk about it. So the things that were actually banned. Now, mind you, these will be in effect the 30th. This is the day after the last ProQuest. 29th is the last day of the ProQuest season, and today is the 27th. So in 3 days, these will actually be legal. What was banned? Belittle was banned. Belittle. And I'll throw a picture of Belittle right here. Winter's Well, right here. Amulet of Ice and Hypothermia are both suspended, which means they are not officially banned. You just cannot play them until Iyslander becomes Living Legend. And real quick, let's actually check and see where Iyslander is at. We're going to do this live. Iyslander is, first of all, third, which is hilarious. 486, and this has been updated for week 2. 486, so we still got a while. And the thing is, like, Iyslander's really going to need to win, like, probably one Pro Tour. Like, here's the fun thing. It could actually win Worlds and the Pro Tour, and it still wouldn't be LL'd, because you get 200 points for the CC version, right? Oh, wow, does this mean, like, Blitz is always going to be part of Worlds? Gross. So if it gets 300 points, it is still not going to be LL'd. Wow, okay. So that means I would probably bet we have 8 months to a year of no Amulet of Ice and Hypothermia. And I disagree with these. I disagree with these 4 being what was banned. Now we will get into Okay. We will get into everything later, but again, I do not agree with these, and I'll show you guys why I would have banned afterward. Start for the Winter's Well ban. Winter's Well is simply too strong for a one-handed Guardian weapon. Tales of Aria represents a set where boundaries were pushed. As we learn more about Flesh and Blood, it has become increasingly clear that Duskblade was not the only majestic weapon in Tales of Aria that went too far. Winter's Well has impacted the game equivalently to, if not greater than. Okay, well I just disagree with that. Many two-handed weapons like Anthos, Romping Club, Nebula Blade, Sledge of Nibelheim, sorry. It brings the output up to the table while also carrying it with a rampart, so the ram head. Stalagmite, Bastion of Eisenloft, or Arcane Lantern. Which one's Bastion? Oh, it's part of Stalagmite, right. That needs to be a meaningful cost to play a one-handed weapon, given how much value your offhand provides as a Guardian. In hindsight, the value of shields wasn't priced correctly to Winter's Well final form. It is too easy for my attacker's Winter to change the swing back damage equivalent by a disproportionate amount. Oldham's ability to keep a 1-card hand offer 4 damage while potentially mitigating double digits of damage on an opposing turn has been the core of his broadly favorable aggro matchups. Oldham without Winter's Well still offers a hardy challenge for aggro decks based on the best in-game defensive options as a bevy of Crush and Ice effects. We expect Oldham decks will have to adapt significantly to this change, but no way do we expect Oldham to disappear from the metagame. So, Winter's Well is not a card I would have ever banned. The banning feels weird. So, I think the only bannable weapon in history besides Duskblade has been Luminaris. But I guess the thing is, like, Prism kind of just doesn't work without Luminaris. I mean, you could have had the same turns if you would have had certain other pieces on the battlefield. But, like, you were asking people to build their deck around yellow, And then you have this weapon here that you really only get to use when you have blues. And then you kind of have these reds over here that kind of just don't do anything now. Um, so I can understand where Luminaire, Skyx got banned. It's actually a really big testament to Prism. Never had a ban card. So it's like somewhat fair in a way, but somewhat not fair in a way. It's really Prism is a very unique deck. But banning weapons, I feel, is just I thematically don't like it if they're signature weapons. And as far as I know, Winter's Will is Odom's signature weapon. I don't believe. I mean, there's no other Elemental Guardian, so it's definitely his signature weapon. I just don't like that thematically. I feel like they should just have hit something else. Now, my things would have been like you touch Crown of Seeds. If you want to touch equipment, right? You want to touch Crown of Seeds because the only other deck that really uses Crown of Seeds is Briar, and that's only very specific versions of Briar, trying to hedge against a very specific matchup. So it's so niche to where like if Crown of Seeds did get removed, it wouldn't actually affect anything. If you really want to mitigate like all the all the damage that Rampart kind of soaks up, but like riskly, Rampart by itself is not egregious. The big thing with Odom is actually a very fair deck. I don't think any of the individual parts of Odom are unhealthy. I just think when you combine all these play patterns and the efficiency of all these cards into the Odom decks that we have right now, that's where you get this. And I do get Winter's Will. Winter's Will is a very, very above rate. Even if it doesn't appear to that in the card. If you say pitch 3 for 4 damage and a frostbite, if that was just a card, you would say that is unplayable. But obviously, we're talking about a weapon that stays. And the big thing about this is, right? Because most times this is going to be icy, because that's how they design their deck. The 4 damage is not the problem. It is the fact that it is a breakpoint where you would need a D-React. You would need a D-React to cover this up cleanly if you don't want to use multiple cards, which is already very efficient. If you're using a D-React on Hammer, you're already looking pretty good. But it's the fact that, okay, if this hits, I now lose damage out of my hand and took damage that wasn't significant rate. If Lexi hits you with like a Blizzard Bolt Fuse for 6, and then like a Chilling Ice Fan, you're like, yeah, man, I really just got fucked up there. Wow. But like the way Odom and Winter's Well does it does it very, very secretly. You don't notice all the damage that you took from Winter's Well and the frostbites, how impactful they actually were. For Odom to mitigate your damage. You don't notice it because it's just 4 damage and it's not flashy. It's not like something big. It's just, Frosty Hammer. You figure it out, and you're like, no, I'm good. I can play through a frostbite. You just take the 4, and he does that throughout the whole entire game, and you wonder why Odom really hasn't hit me that much. Why am I at 12? What happened? Well, every single turn he was Winter's Willing you, and you weren't blocking. So I don't think it's Winter's Will itself. I think it's the play patterns around Winter's Will that enable it to be so powerful. But again, if I was going to hit an equipment from Odom, it would have been Crown of Seeds or Rampart. And then again, if you get rid of one, really how good is the other? Let's say they get rid of Crown of Seeds, and Odom has to play Crown of Providence, like has to play it, and plays Rampart. Well, Rampart gets significantly worse. Like, at that point, I think you would just rather block with a card. Because you're losing a card. You're pitching something to Rampart. So you're losing 3 block to block for 1. Now, unless you're going to Hero that breaks the chain often like Bolton or Dash whenever they're heavy on the pistol build, you can get rewarded for that. But if it's just like a 1-time, even a 2-time thing, it is horrible in rate. It is, again, just the interaction of being able to pitch a card. Crown Seeds, get a fresh card. Rampart, put it in front. And you've turned that 1 card in your hand into 2 block and an additional card. And depending on what card you pitch, it could be resource positive. If you pitch, I'm just saying hypothetically, if you was to pitch a yellow, it would be resource positive for you. But more oftentimes than not, you're pitching blue, which you can't really be resource positive off of blue. But I think you guys are getting what I'm saying. It is more. It is just the play pounds around it. But do I think Winner's Woe actually impacts Odom? No. Now, let's say Winner's Woe with Odom made Odom at a 90% efficiency rating. Like, 0 is the most inefficient hero, 100 is the most efficient hero, and then, like, the best hero in the game. Let's say Odom was at 90. I think the banning Winner's Woe takes him down to like an 85 or 80. He is still significantly ahead of the curve with other people. He's better than other people. And he's worse than himself. But he's not bad. He doesn't go down to a 40. I think this is the same thing that I said about Post of Eisenloft. This is the same thing I said about Viserai. Because when I first came to the game, everyone was talking about how Viserai's dead. I'm like, what do you mean Viserai's dead? Viserai's good. They're like, no, he lost his OTK. So I'm like, so instead of OTKing you, he goes, every single turn goes Marvin Sky, Shrill, Rosetta Thorn, and then just does this every turn. And they're like, but you can't OTK. I'm like, cool. So he is just more fair. Viserai went from like a 95 to an 85. That's all that was. But people just see, oh, he's on a 95 or a 90, and they think he's trash. Odom's going to be fine. He is still probably going to win the most Pro Quests this season. I guarantee you. The only person that now has an opportunity is probably Fi. But we will talk about Fi later. I know there's a lot about this about Winner's Woe, but I think it is a lot to something to talk about. Hypothermia and Amulet Vice. Wow, that is awkward, isn't it? I don't know why my light just went out. Hey, this is live, by the way. Iyslander has not been quite as dominant as Odom this season, but our world champion has proven there is nothing scary to sit across from the table than a great player behind a waning moon and an ice wizard. Iyslander has effective game plans virtually in every hero, and it would be challenging to bring back the deck of the field with only a single alteration. Therefore, we are targeting some of her best tools for both aggro and control matchups. With Hypothermia and Arsenal, Iyslander feels virtually invulnerable against decks that rely on bestowing Go Again to their attacks. With a single free blue card, turns routinely stolen from Briar, Dash, and Fi. I mean, Fi had natural Go Again a lot. I mean, I guess you stop Emberblade, but yeah. Hypothermia can undo multiple turns worth of setup played by an opponent. Likewise, Amulet Vice also allows Iyslander to sculpt the perfect opportunity in the late game with a very little deck building cost, and almost no output given to free play has Go Again. The fact that Amulet Vice is routinely part of Iyslander's plans against aggro, as well as against control, really tells you all you need to know about its power. When it is still worth playing with a card that has no block value and extremely potent offensive strategies. There is no risk/reward proposition around Amulet Vice. It is simply all reward. We much prefer Iyslanders to wish to set up these card denial plans that are forced to do at a higher cost on the back of something like Insidious 2. We expect these suspensions to last until Iyslanders attain Living Legend status, but we also check in on XB and our announcement to make sure they're effective for both Iyslander and the format in general in a matter of consistent with our go. Sorry. So first of all, they only talk about Iyslander. Odom uses Hypothermia. Lexi uses both of these cards. So they're indirectly hitting Lexi really, really badly. But not even talking about it. Both of these cards, including Insidious Show, so all three of these cards, are very integral to Lexi. Don't even talk about it. They're just like, yep, Iyslander, and Lexi's over here like, guys, what about me? And yeah, they're just like, yeah, this fucking Iyslander guy just won't fuck off, man. He just won't fuck off. He's just killing us. Lexi's like, guys, I use these cards too. Can I still use them? They're like, dude, I swear, next fucking Iyslander that uses these cards. Shh, can you shut up, dude? I'm making a video. And it was like, God, this fucking Lexi guy over here complaining. I don't even know what this guy's complaining about. Something about he uses cards too. But yeah, this fucking Iyslander guy, that's literally all this is. Like, that, I hate that. I literally hate that they're not even bringing up, like, Lexi just got clapped. I mean, obviously Lexi can adapt, but like, this is annoying that they don't even bring it up. So, Hypothermia, I guess I get. I think it realistically just only does not hit Fi. Because like Fi had Natural again for the most part outside of obviously Snap's turn, but I don't know if he's playing Snaps in you. Or he had Soaring Strike out, or like Emberblade. But like doing it on Emberblade's actually pretty good. But depending on what type of hand they have, the Emberblade is usually just coming with that and a Phoenix Flame. So like you stop one damage because like they already swing the Emberblade. I don't know, but obviously like Iyslander does abuse the hypothermia because it's up to her whenever it comes out. And she can always arsenal it whenever she knows it'll be a keen turn for her opponent. So I don't hate the hypothermia ban. I think it is fine. If they are wanting to hit Iyslander. I just wish they kind of just hit stuff that Lexi doesn't play, but I mean, I guess they're both ice heroes, so it's like, there's not much they can do. When it comes to Aim of Ice, the City Show was just a much better option. Like, a much better option. Now, I see where they're getting at. Aim of Ice costs 0, has Go again, and technically you can force whenever you want to do it. Right? I get that. But if there's something in the game that prevents you from like activating Amulet of Ice, right? I think that okay, let me actually put it to this way. Let me explain this in a whole different way because the way I was going to go down this rabbit hole, it was going to get very confusing. This whole fact they have the same exact condition, and yeah, and today's show can only happen 3 times. Personally, how many times do you really need it to happen? So Insidious Chill actually blocks. It actually blocks on like Amulet of Ice, and let's talk about how big that is. If you have a hand of 2 Amulet of Ices, you're like, okay, well, dude, just send the 50 damage. Send it. I can only block 6 of it. Send it. Versus have Amulet of Ice, something like, yeah, you're still taking some amount of damage, but you're actually able to block it. Maybe they can only do that because they actually hit with the card that you could block, and you can block, and it stops all that damage. How many times do you really need to get this effect in the game to win, or to gain tempo? Alright, I think, like, they're pretty much the exact same thing. Right? Now, yeah, you have to lose a card, and a lot of times it is tempo negative to play the Insidious Chill. But the fact that it is unconditional whenever you do fuse, you have to activate the Amulet of Ice, which actually I think can induce sometimes bad play. That is one layer. When it comes to Amulet of Ice, you have to be very, very exact when you use it, because it is gone. If you just mess up once with Insidious Chill, you have 2 more counters to get it right. And maybe the next time you just don't blindly fuse whenever it doesn't matter. But if you just crack Amulet of Ice, oh, it didn't matter? Cool, I just lost that and it did nothing. And the amount of times that actually happens is more than you think. Trust me, I used to do all the time. There's actually gameplays on my channel of me and other people doing that dumb crap with Amulet of Ice. Like, and if anything, maybe I think you even ban both. Both cards are kind of unhealthy to play against. But there technically was a little more skill in Amulet of Ice because you could choose whenever you did it. When Insidious Chill, it just happens. I don't know. It is just my unique perspective. Like, again, at the end of the day, I understand why they did it. I mean, they also kind of wrote it here, but from my perspective, I understand if they just blindly said, yeah, we're getting rid of Amulet of Ice. I'm like, okay, I understand. I just think Insidious Chill was a better hit because it is generically good versus Amulet of Ice, which actually requires the pilot to know when to crack it. And the fact that we won't have these cards for like 8 months kind of sucks. RP Lexi, but she'll probably be able to adapt, and Iyslander will probably be able to adapt too. Is there anything else I've hit in Iyslander? Can you really like hit any of the Aether Ice Veins? Like, is that even a healthy thing to do? I have no idea if it's even like healthy to hit like Aether Ice Vein. Like, it's probably like the most egregious card to go against Iyslander, especially if they have one of these effects out. You go Aether Ice Vein Fuse, get rid of a card. Oh, well, you can't block it, that sucks. Take damage and get rid of another card. But like, realistically, only like Red's bad because even like my control dash, I play AB4. So like yellow, I can block that up. Red, I can't. Now obviously with how the play pattern is, I can just AB some of it and just use floating mana to pay 2. So it's not that bad. And I think some Icelander are actually playing AB5. I know my buddy who plays Kano. I know he plays AB5 into both wizards, which might actually just be correct. I kind of just value Tunic a great deal. Or like a different card that has Arcane Barrier. But I'm trying to think like besides Aether's Fame, what could you do that doesn't also hit Lexi? Maybe okay. I'm actually thinking about it. Maybe these were the best hits because like every option that I have, either A also hits another hero, or B it doesn't actually it lowers the power level too much. And I don't think that's what you want to happen. I think you still want Icelander to be very playable. You just don't want her to be very overbearing. So you know what? These are fine. Maybe at the end of the video, I think more. I might have a different option or a different opinion, but you know these are fine. Belittle. Despite taking multiple strong anti-aggro tools... Okay, actually, before I even talk about this, and they might bring it up. They might even bring it up. Didn't they say that they made Belittle? Because, like, I remember, like, it was like Pro Tour 1 or Lil. I don't remember which one. They had the Q&A. They talked about... Someone talked about asking if Belittle would get banned. They say, no, we want Belittle to be around, because then every aggro deck would just be Cheerios. And I'm like... Yeah, but, like... No, they won't. Look, it makes them. You have unique deck bone restrictions. I'm like, no. Belittle was made because those ice heroes that you made, they say have less cards or produce more mana. That's why I play Belittle. But I don't play Belittle to go like, dude, I can't just have everything when my deck costs 0, dude. I can't just not pay for all my attacks. I gotta pay for some of them. Like, no. Belittle was made to be a combo card and to help against taxes. That's all that is. It is not so aggro has to have unique deck boon descriptions. Now with that, and I actually might, if I remember, I'm going to get a clip of that and put that in here, because that's just against literally what this is. So, Belittle. Despite taking multiple strong anti-aggro tools from the format, we have no desire just to hand the keys over the Castle Five. I mean, that's kind of what you're doing by getting rid of, you know, two matchups, but you know. There may be fewer Frostbites than Classic Constructed, but the absence of Belittle should also mean the ones that do show up or will be more effective. I mean, that's not how that works. If a hero can produce Frostbites, they can produce Frostbites. That sentence doesn't make sense. Furthermore, removing Belittle lowers the ceiling of 5's output by reducing less virtual 6 and 7 card hands. That only matters with very, very few hands that are very resource intensive. They don't matter on the average hands. I promise you. They don't matter on the average hands. This is also a ban. This is also a ban directed at the long-term health of Flesh and Blood. But they said, I gotta find that clip. I gotta find that clip. I gotta find that clip now. I gotta find that clip of why they said they wouldn't ban Belittle. I gotta find that. As a generic, it is too easy for aggro decks to default to Belittle manualism for the foundation, and when they do, the unique nature of our heroes is de-emphasized. Okay, so then why do you have Snatch? Why do you have E-Strike? You know, the Command Card, you know, these really good generics that like everyone plays because you have to play them. Why don't you ban those? They reduce the nature. That means that there's like 9 cards in like almost every single like deck besides very few decks. And heck, dude, I was playing CNC in my fucking Lexi deck. Up until a while ago. They're good cards. It's fine to have good cards. Now, I understand. Thematically, it'd be much better if each hero had to rely on like their class cards. I'm down for that. If they want to de-emphasize people using generics, that's fine. But like, don't just act like it's just belittle minimalism. It's not. It's not just belittle minimalism. It's more decks, and it's like 6 cards in a deck. When like every aggro deck runs Snatchy Strike. Below Minimalism as a resource engine also diminishes one of the most unique elements of Flesh and Blood, its game design, and its deck construction considerations. The trade-off between impact cards and cards that produce resources below fetching blue minimalism allows decks to cheat on the resource base, increasing the threat density, output consistency, and leading into less interesting game states where you have to make the most out of blue-rich hands. I mean, if you have a blue-rich... Okay. This is also the kind of variance that adds the dynamic ebbs and flows to the gameplay that we like. Variance that does not allow you to even participate in the game is the kind of variance we were supposed to. But you play... Oh, just get through this. Just get through this. Belittle has featured prominently in 5 Viserai, Briar, and Katsu, and countless other brews over the history of our game. Belittle Engine deck won both Pro Tour, New Jersey, and Lille. We are excited to see a more diverse world where Go Wide heroes are forced to explore other options. Oh boy, this is a lot here, and I'm just you know what? Since we're live, and I don't want to, and I want to have a good relationship with LSS. This is great. I enjoyed reading this portion of the article, and I agree with everything. Yep, I'm good. I'm good. Chronoseeds. Notable for its absence in this ban restricted announcement, Chronoseeds deserves its own discussion. We are not blind to the fact that how tremendous portion of Odin powers lies in this card filtration and damage prevention of Chronoseeds. Certainly in many scenarios, Chronoseeds would have hit Dimension Classic Constructed some time ago. But much like it has in the Blitz format, however, we recognize what legendary acquisition process means to a Flesh and Blood player. Many of us at LSS. Okay, first of all, no, there's legendaries that are complete cheeks, by the way. I also want to point that out. Many of us at LSS look fondly on the first legendary we ever opened in a pack, and we use them in our decks happily and proudly, taking every opportunity to share the card's history with our opponent. We take the bond between player and legendary seriously. This is not to say we will never ban legendary card, but you have banned a legendary card. You ban. Did you not remember what happened last year? You banned a legendary card. What if it was my first ever legendary? No, they're saying like legendary like rarity. I know, so like, but like I'm kind of making a joke. But here's the thing, right? I'm not gonna read the rest. Here's the issue, right? With this statement, you're saying I value a player's feelings more than I do the gameplay, which is what the ban and suspended announcements are. These are not healthy for the game, so we're going to touch it. Not, hey, I really care about your feelings. Now here's the thing, I am glad that they do care about player security and players feeling good about their cards, and it really like thematically like having the legendaries are really cool. But saying that's more important than the health of a game, and I'm not saying Chronoseeds is something I probably would have banned, but not to say Chronoseeds is just unhealthy or toxic. I don't believe it is. But to say we care about little Timmy over there that just got his Chronoseeds and he's playing in his who can Odin, Belittle, whatever UPF deck. We care about that more than the health of our competitive game. Because here's the thing, right? LSS, and again, unless I have just misread stuff in the past, this has been a while ago, they say CC is our premier competitive format. Blitz is our premier kitchen table format, our very fun format that everyone can pick up and play. And then you have like things like UPF and then PV when it comes out as like these like really just like multiplayer like fun games. So you're saying they are using their blitz casual mindset for their competitive portion of their ban list. You see where these things don't mix. Either A, everything is player first, player like mental and emotion first, and then if something's egregious enough, we'll get rid of it, or we care about the health of the format over everything else. You can't have it both ways. You can't say premier competitive format, dude. Whatever must be done will be done, and then in the next breath be like, I really wanted to do that, man, but like, dude, look at that kid's face. He is just so happy he just got that. Man, I can't ban that card from him. He's just so happy. Look at him. Man. Yeah, that Winter's Well, though. Let's get rid of that Winter's Well. Like I said, I don't have the problem with the decisions. It is just the way they talk about it is just infuriating. Because they contradict themselves literally all the time. Briar, Warden of Thorns, and Living Legend check. The reason that the Ben Strickland announcement was really scheduled for January 30th was so there was a Living Legend check at the conclusion of the ProQuest season. In the unlikely event that Briar or Annie the Hero happens to cross the 1,000-point threshold in the final week ProQuest, she would attain Living Legend status as if the announcement was made the 30th. So they're saying like the reason it was at this point because like ProQuest season ends, they would have updated the list. If somebody would have got like Briar would have got 1,000, they can make adjustments accordingly. So makes sense. Blitz, no changes. Aether Ice Fane. Oh wait, what? So you know it's hilarious. They said that Aether Ice Fang would be suspended until this, because I remember seeing this, because I did play like a few of my Blitz games. Also, my Uncle GS is coming out with a skirmish in April. I was thinking about Icelander, but you know, they did some stuff. They said, hey, we're gonna look at Icelander and Blitz at the end of January, and then they say, yeah, there has been a lot of events. Of course, there wouldn't be a lot of events. You know how many events gonna happen. You know. You're the one that they're one that says like, yeah, you can have that competitive blitz event. Yep, you can have that one. Like if the local army wants to do a blitz event, that does not matter. They don't take that data in there. But like anything above that, they do. And they would have knew that there were going to be something that happened or wouldn't happen. And I was saying, guys, nobody was playing blitz. Nobody was playing competitive blitz. Of course, nobody was playing competitive blitz. You know that. Jesus Lord, just suspend it until Icelander goes away. Then you don't have to worry about it. Or just suspend it. Or just restrict it. Restriction is something I do wonder if they will ever do in this game, by the way. So, like, I mean, Icelander is a rainbow card. So I don't really know. Well, Aether Fang is a rainbow card, so I don't know if they could do that with rainbows. But let's say, like, Remembrance, for example, you can only play one of it. Even though most people do, like, you can only play one of it. Like, I wonder if they do something like that. By the way, that is something that just crossed my mind. But, dude, can they, like, I'm gonna write. Remember this paragraph, guys. Remember this paragraph from March 20th, and then when there's still no Blitz events, I want you guys to remember this and be like, dude, they said it was coming out the 20th, and that they'll look at it, but there was 2 Blitz events. Oh god, I swear, I don't like raging like this so much, but it is. Oh, it is just some like reading these articles a lot of times just hurt my head. They genuinely hurt my head sometimes. So let's actually look at the updated card legality policy. Hello? So this is now our ban list right here. Awakening, Ball Lightning, Belittle, Jonah Brutality, Duskblade, Plunder Run, Pulse of Eisenloft, Stubhammers, and Winter's Well. Oh, Bloodchief was just... Oh, Suspended was banned. Oh. I mean, Viscerai's not going to LL for like a minute. It's not gonna be there for a minute. It's like number 2. Well, no, I think it's number 4 now because I think Odin and Icelander have like overtaken it, but like I thought it was banned, so like we will get Scudda back at some point. But the thing is that we're gonna need a new Runeblade, which I think we get a new Runeblade in the summer. But That's your updated banned and restricted list.